Hello everyone, welcome back to this show. I hope you're all having an awesome day today, and in this video we're going to be doing a comic review for Superman 78, a continuation of the Richard Donner Superman films. As you might know, the first two original Superman films, which starred Christopher Reeve, were continued by Superman 3 and 4, which received pretty negative criticism due to the fact that they were not necessarily very good movies. And in 2006, they ignored those events and did an alternative sequel called Superman Returns, which had different actors but was in the same continuity. And that seemed to have more mixed reviews from critics and people. Some people liked it, some people did not, and a lot of people were in the middle, sort of. So what they did was they made another alternate sequel in comic form, which of course comic form is a little bit easier to do it because you just have to have the writers, the illustrators that work on it. You don't have to worry about all the actors you need to get and that sort of thing. They also did the same thing with Batman 89, continuing the story from Batman and Batman Returns, as well as Batman 66, I believe, and they might be making more of different superheroes, just this sort of idea. So as you can see here on the book, on the cover you have Superman, Brainiac, Lois, and Lex Luthor, and then the back here. And if you slip the cover off, they made it to look like a VHS, and they did the same thing with the Batman 89 comics, so that's pretty neat what they did. So how does this hold up as an alternative sequel to the first two Superman movies? I'll go ahead and hop right into the review, but keep in mind there will be a few spoilers. So the really neat thing that they do here is they introduce a new villain, Brainiac, that had been in comics before but was never really in any of the live action Superman movies, and that was definitely the right direction to go. Of course they still have Lex Luthor in it, and this is the Gene Hackman version of Lex Luthor, which I kind of have mixed feelings about because I definitely liked his performance in the movies, but overall this was more of a traditional version of Lex Luthor that wore wigs a lot instead of just showing his bald head, because Gene Hackman actually wasn't even bald. And there was really no Lex Corp. It was just him being an evil person that got arrested a lot. So it was kind of a 10 out of 10 performance, but in terms of the characterization, it's very different from the modern version. But they do kind of improve upon that in this comic a little bit. He does not, in fact, get his super purple and green suit. You do on one panel see a little bit of it that he's building, but he does not actually use it in the story, which would have been really cool. But he really works more as a manipulator in the story so that certain plot points happen. Of course, Lois is also in this story. There's her romance with Clark, aka Superman, and that is done well like it was in the movies. You get to see a little bit more of the Daily Planet in this. Jimmy Olsen and Perry White are in it a little bit, but the most impressive thing is what they do with the Brainiac storyline of him sending robots down to Earth and just his view on different species and if they deserve to be alive or not, and him seeing Superman as a threat and what he's doing as the right thing, sort of. But the craziest thing they do is they've always had like the storyline of Brainiac kind of shrinking people into these bottle cities, but what they do is they bring Superman's parents back with it, which I'm not entirely sure if they've really ever done that storyline of Superman seeing his parents. That wasn't like a recording of his parents before, at least not in this particular way. I could be wrong about that though. If you know they've done a similar plot point to this in other media like comics or something, just let me know in the comments section down below. But as of my knowledge, I really don't think they've done anything like this before. And there's definitely some really good character development in this, as Superman has to make some hard decisions and he has to take some risks. But as I said, the idea of Brainiac putting people into bottles has been done a lot of times before, and I like how they incorporate that into a way to bring Superman's parents back. And then the action in this book is also really good. You get a final battle, some good payoff. The art style is also really good. Now, for all of the crazy stuff that happens in it, it is worth noting it isn't that long. It's like 6 issues that are around 20 pages each. It's somewhere around the 150 page mark, and if it was adapted into a movie, they definitely would have had more scenes and stuff into it, because the runtime probably would have been less than an hour if they didn't, because you know that's the thing, that comics are different than movies, although they do try to make this comic seem more like a movie. That is sort of the appeal. So it is a little bit short. There's some crazy stuff that happens in here, but the plot really isn't as dense as you would think. But for my overall rating on the scale of 1 to 10, we'll give it a 9.1 out of 10. This was definitely a good continuation of the story. But what do you think about it? Let me know in the comments section down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.